Good evening. The title of this is Beliefs Regarding the Genesis of the Universe and Existing Life. The question of how the universe and life originated has captivated humans throughout all the world and had debates for centuries. Diverse religious and scientific perspectives offer various explanations regarding these origins. This particular project will focus on Christians' interpretation using chapters 1 and 2 of Genesis as primary references. I will also outline my current understanding of cosmic creations, evolutionary processes, and Earth age while exploring how these concepts intersect with biblical narratives and scientific insights. Finally, we will consider how these beliefs shape perceptions of God's nature, human identity, and environmental responsibilities. First, Christian beliefs about origins. Christians believe in God's sovereign act of creation as a foundation for their understanding of existence. They assert that God is the ultimate source of everything created, created everything out of nothing. This belief is rooted in the biblical account found in Genesis, which depicts God's creative work over 6 days. Proponents argue that this divine creativity reflects both his intelligence and intended purpose. Secondly, Genesis 1 and 2, the initial 2 chapters of Genesis are pivotal texts in Christianity that recount the universe's origins and humanity. Genesis 1 offers a sweeping account of creations covering over 6 days, emphasizing key events such as the formation of light, land, animal life, and ultimately human beings. In contrast to that, Genesis 2 narrows its focus to the specific creation of Adam and Eve. These scriptures highlight God's purpose in making humans his image and assigning them the responsibility of stewardship over the created world. The term days within his creation narratives can be interpreted as symbolic approaches rather than strictly defined 24-hour periods. The interpretation aligns more closely with the intensive time frame suggested by contemporary cosmologist theories. Such a perspective not only reconciles biblical timelines with scientific understanding, but it also enriches the spiritual significance embedded in ancient texts. Rather than detracting from religious narratives, these interpretations can evaluate their profound wisdom, suggesting that they convey enduring truths about existence and humanity positions in the cosmos. Ultimately, merging cosmology with biblical accounts invites a more comprehensive exploration of our origins. It emphasizes that faith alone reason and science paired with scripture can coexist and mutually enhance one another. How? By cultivating a dialogue that honors insight from both realms. We pave the way for a deeper and more nuanced understanding of our universe and our roles from within. This collaborative effort bridges diverse perspectives and enriches humanity's pursuit of knowledge and meaning, bringing us closer to a holistic understanding of our beginnings. Our opening passages of Genesis state, in the beginning, God created heavens and earth. Genesis 1:1. The declaration emphasizes that God brought everything from nothing. No pre-existing material was utilized to form the universe, while fish and birds emerged from water and animals and humans were formed from the earth. It is crucial to note that both earth and water were created out of nothing. The ancient Christian commentary on Scripture highlights that despite humans' attempt to propose alternative explanations for creations, these endeavors have largely been unsuccessful. It is acknowledged that scientific theories often lack definitive proof. Many individuals can relate to instances that science classes where their viewpoints clash with those of their instructors, who nevertheless could not entirely refute their arguments. This amplifies a fundamental characteristic of scientific discourse. Darwin's theory of evolution has dominated discussions regarding human origins within natural science, yet it remains unproven. It would have benefited Darwin to consult biblical texts before formulating his hypothesis on natural selection. However, my intention extends to beyond discussion Genesis as a subject. Instead, I wish to focus on it as a literary work, the method of faith. We find insights and how we often overlook the Bible's ancient nature due to our familiarity with its narratives. Figures like Abraham resonate more strongly with us than distant relatives. Names such as Isaac and Joseph evoke a sense of nostalgia as though they were acquaintances from our past. The Bible effectively captures life vibrantly, deep, and the essence during those time. The text transports us back to the earliest chapters of human history while remaining relevant, much like tomorrow's headline news, demonstrating the divine inspiration inherent in its passages. There have been writers who often been named as fathers of history, likely appropriately some 300 years before Christ, as it is recognized for having provided preserved historical accounts. Such writers give contributions to well-known among students of ancient history. However, it is noteworthy that Moses had completed writings, the first 5 books of the Bible, 5,000 years before Herodotus' birth. Genesis serves not merely as a historical account, but possesses a profound message encapsulated in one central idea. It undersources humanity inadequately without divine guidance. This theme continues the book's primarily objective and lays groundwork for all sequence relevance about God. It conveys that true fulfillment in life cannot be attained without an authentic relationship with the indwelling God. When I approach Scripture, starting with Genesis, acknowledging its significance and grandeur, I'm likely to derive a greater meaning from it and its sequential text within the Bible. The lineage of Christ traces back to Abraham in Matthew's Gospel. Thus, its narratives begin with Genesis. If this foundation book holds true, all sequential writings must also be considered valid. Consequently, every author from Moses through John on Patmos was inspired by God throughout the sacred texts. General and special revelations. Christians recognize two modes through which God reveals himself: general revelation and special revelation. General revelation encompasses natural phenomenon and moral discernment, allowing individuals to perceive God's existence and attributes through the world around them. In contrast, special revelations involves direct communication from God via the scriptures, also prophets or Christ's embodiments. It offers unique insight into God's character and his plan for salvation. One of my main points here is three Christians' approaches to creation. The first is the youth earth creationism. Advocates maintain that earth is relatively young, created with a literal 6-day time frame as outlined in Genesis, and typically estimate his age approximately 6,000 to 10,000 years old. The old earth creationism, this perspective accepts science finding from Earth's age while proposing that days described in Genesis may symbolize extended periods rather than literal days, therefore reconciling faith with an ancient universe. Evolution. This viewpoint integrates evolutionary science with the belief that God is the ultimate creator who directs evolutionary processes that lead to diversity in life. So Christian living is profoundly influenced by one's interpretation of purpose, ethical principles, and stewardship responsibility towards creation. These beliefs may shape more choices concerning environmental care and relationships with God. Let's dig a little bit into my understanding. Many Christians believe that understanding cosmic origin aligns with the scientifically acceptance of the Big Bang Theory, a concept suggesting that approximately 13.8 billion years ago, the universe began from a singularity before expanding into its present form. This theory is bolstered by substantial practical evidence, including cosmic microwave background radiation alongside observation related to universal expansion. Evolution, a concept popularized by Charles Darwin and supported by extensive fossil records alongside genetic research illuminating evolutionary mechanisms, provide a robust framework for understanding life's complexities. Regarding Earth's age, scientific consensus indicate that around 4.5 billion years old, base methodologies such as radiometrics, dating techniques applied to rocks and to minerals, I believe it is possible to harmonize these scientific explanations concerning cosmic origins with a non-literal interpretation applied to certain biblical narratives. thus allowing for compatibility between scripture messages and genealogical timelines. Many Christians interpret Genesis' account symbolically or metaphorically rather than strictly literally. They view such interpretations as conveying theological truths rather than precise historical accounts. This perspective acknowledges different insights from faith traditions while fostering peaceful coexistence between religions and science without necessitating conflict for deeper understanding. Impact on worldviews or the nature of God. The nature of God is the vastness and complexity inherent of the universe, enhanced by my appreciation for divinity's grandeur. I regard God as not only our originator, but also our initiator behind all processes leading to existence. Characterization of humanity. That means understanding evolutionary connections among species fosters recognition of shared lineage, prompting responsibility toward ecological preservation. This encourages humanity, wherein we appreciate ourselves as dominators and caretakers within this interconnected web. That leads us to human value and dignity. Awareness surrounding extensive timescales requests our presence amplifies our intrinsic worth, emphasizing that dignity along with compassion during interactions among individuals and promoting well-being collectivity across society. That brings us about to environmental responsibility, acknowledging Earth longevity and interdominance among life forms, acquaintances, duties towards ecological guardianship, urging sustainable practices to preserve planetary health for sequential generations. Ultimately, the interplay between cosmic origins, reconciled through faith-science dialogue, enriches comprehension surrounding existential queries while nurturing more profound reverence toward divinity, and cultivates humanity alongside accountability according to Earth's welfare, all contributing towards holistic perspectives, enhancing quality across diverse lives coexisting upon this planet. A well-known misconception has persisted for centuries, is that faith is inherently incompatible with science inquiry. This leads to a false idea that one has to choose different evidence and faith, such as dichotomy, which neglects any possible synthesis between two realms, or thus calls for more graduated conversation over independence. And that brings up the role of interpretation. This is a significant source of confusion that lies how sacred texts are constructed via sciences or scientific discoveries. The concept that customary sees the parting of a secret is, for example, creation narration and religious texts that many consider incompatible with the evolutionary theory. Myths and contradictions like this arise primarily from a literal reading of the scriptures in question without understanding their historical and cultural context. In the same way, the scientific community can unwittingly reinforce these misconceptions by rejecting religious worldviews without considering metaphorical and symbolic elements embedded within sacred texts. Culture, narratives, fables, myths, and their effect. Cultural narratives, fables, myths, and their effects. These are merely issues of science and faith, but cultural narratives that shape perceptions of conflicts between the two. Both sides are often seen in light that causes a great deal of mutual misunderstanding regarding the media representation and the public discussion surrounding these domains, which depict these areas as necessarily at odds. High-profile legal battles or politics sometimes overshadow quieter but yet constructive dialogues, reinforcing a history of discord, not one of coexistence. Fostering empathy and respect towards these issues and furthering constructive discussions about them with empathy and respect is crucial in helping navigate the intrinsities involved. These initiatives are forced on creating space for honest conversations where Christians can bring their questions and concerns without being judged. This dialogue can be enriched by those in science and are central to many faith traditions. Also, religious communities should appreciate the role of scientific inquiry in our understanding of the natural world. Highlighting custom values, trust-seeking, and improving the human conditions could foster shared ground between those on both sides of the science-religious divide. That involves educational efforts. And sometimes educational efforts underscore the historical benefits of collaboration between scientific inquiry and religious scholarship. And it might cause some tension. If both parties emphatically engage while still saying a few words with the other parties, they can often break down misunderstandings to create an environment for curiosity and respect. In conclusion, a harmony of knowledge in this discussion, a unified vision of knowledge develops at the intersection of science and faith. This synthesis embraces the unique offerings of each domain in our understanding of our universe. This is why promoting an approach like that allows for an ambience of much more open conversation process, a collective experience exploration. Integrating experimental science with theological thoughts that address physiological change of thought with a spiritual goal can help one appreciate the complexity of creation. Shifting from oppositional to complementary thinking leads to a richer, wholesome. Fostering dialogues between science and faith opens a new path for discussion and could challenge existing paradigms. Intellectually, combative engagements help to expose blind spots that may not be apparent while looking through a single vantage point. This exploration suggests a capacity for the faith mysteries and the universe wonders to coexist for an integrated world that honors and distincts integrity of scientific and theological inquiry. Overall, this fusion enhances our understanding while enabling us to value our lineage, molding our meanings of life more meaningful. The hope for union bears a mutually and scientific insights that shed light on theology, vice versa, stretching the dialogue to maximize the immeasurable human's quest to know. This holistic view can help us appreciate the marvelous facts in nature, world, and the significant mysteries the faith work is revealed. In such integration, it is intertwining of formal inquiry and the live world, and the lived world. We come not only to answer stable, observable realities, but also their significance, which leads to rich visions of knowledge, all-knowing, yet structured like a web. The end.